Oh, hi everyone from wherever you are. Hello. I am very excited as you can see. Today I am bringing you the first episode of my show, the Carol Azams Show on Diversity Television Island. This is the kind of show whereby I will sometimes maybe be talking to you by myself. Most of the times I will have guests with me. We are going to be talking about everything, all issues under the sun, all topic matters. So I have with me today a very special guest, a woman that I have had the privilege of meeting at an event that she facilitated that was organized by Women for Election a couple of years ago. I was preparing to go into politics, but with everything in life, sometimes you make your own plans and then some other things come in between and it's just, you simply move along. Without wasting any much of your time, I am going to introduce you to my very special guest, Orlaith Carmody. Orla is a very successful Irish businesswoman, and I'm sure some of you must be familiar with that name. She is an author, a former news reporter, and the co-founder of Gavin Duffy and Associates, a communications consultancy business which she co-founded with her husband and business partner, Dragon's Den investor and former presidential candidate, Gavin Duffy. So, Ola, you being my very first guest, I believe that we are making history together. So, Ola, welcome to the show. So, today we are going to talk about yourself as a business coach and find out how you have managed to keep your business going during this very difficult period of coronavirus. But first of all, can you please tell our viewers more about yourself, about who you are and what you do?
Hi, Carol. It's lovely to be here with you on your program and every success with it. I hope it goes very well for you. Yeah, I began my professional or business career, if you like, as a journalist. Back in the day, I worked in local radio stations and then I worked for RTE in the newsroom there. And after a number of years, I had four small children by then, and the time had come to take a few years out, which I did to be with my family. And then when I was re-entering the workforce by then, myself and my husband and business partner, Gavin, we had set up a communications training consultancy. So it was moving from a different kind of communications, if you like, the side where you're reporting, to actually helping other people with their media performances and helping other people with their speech making and that type of thing. And from then the business grew into a leadership development consultancy. And these days, yes, it's very much about business coaching and executive coaching. And I seem to spend a lot of my time doing that. As I said, I'm also a mother of four. They're young adults now. So life is busy.
Thank you, Ola. Thanks for that. So now, can you tell our viewers what is business coaching and who can be a business coach? How long have you been coaching? Is it the type of business that you run only on a part-time basis, or like every other business, is a full-time business like 9 to 5?
Well, business and executive coaching is very much about bringing the best out in the other person, wanting them to achieve their goals and whatever it is they're hoping to, whatever success they might be looking for. So, for example, during COVID and during lockdown, I've been working with a lot of different people who, believe it or not, are changing career or changing jobs in the middle of it all. One lady I worked with there recently has just got a big role as a HR director. And funnily enough, I've never met her. We did it completely online. So all of my coaching with her was done online and she had great success with that. In terms of business coaching and business development, it's very much working with a company, maybe a startup, maybe a company that's in the early stage of development. And it's a mentoring arrangement whereby you're a sounding board. You're somebody who's giving them ideas and advice and support as they make the decisions in how to take their business forward. And again, during COVID, there's been a lot of companies that have been really struggling and they really do need somebody outside the immediate business, if you like, outside the tent. Very often I think somebody who's a company director or a company owner, they may have good staff and good colleagues working with them, but sometimes they're too close and they can't really open up and share the worries or concerns they might have about the business with that person. And that's where an external coach or mentor is really useful, because that person will be fully confidentially, but will be a complete sounding board to them and bring their own life experience and business experience to bear, with the benefit benefit, I suppose, of the fly in the wall perspective. You're not emotionally involved when you're right in the middle of it. So you do bring a lot of external perspective, which I think business owners and individuals find very, very helpful.
You know, Ola, during this period of coronavirus, people are constantly talking about the difficulties of getting around, the issues of lockdowns, and lockdowns have been lifted now anyway, but the impact is still there. But people are still talking about it because more people are getting tested positive and they are being quarantined, and so in a way the lockdown still goes on, especially about people losing their jobs. So no doubt it's a very difficult period for everyone. Things look set to change, but it's still not good news for everybody. In reality, a lot of businesses have been forced to close down while some are just managing to carry on. Ola, how has COVID-19 affected you personally and in your business?
I think I'm the same as everybody else. I've struggled with it. I mean, we've all struggled with the lack of contact with our friends and our families. And we've struggled with the downturn in our businesses. And my business is no different to anybody else's. It's a service business. Very much of what I would have been doing over the years was working with people in a classroom environment or in a boardroom environment. So I would be working with an individual or with a team in coaching or in training. A lot of our work is in training and development. So I would be working with, a team of people, training, coaching them on leadership skills and communication skills. And I really miss that. I really miss that classroom environment, that sort of sense of meeting really interesting people every day. You're out and about and you're challenged by their challenges, and it's very, very satisfying. So our business, same as every other service business, was very badly impacted at the start. I mean, it suddenly just all stopped and we didn't know what to do and where to turn. But then I think we began to realise a lot of what we could do could be done online. So certainly the one-on-one coaching I've been doing with clients, that has persisted and gone right ahead. I had a lovely client I was working with over the last few weeks, and his company had been very interested in moving him to another city. And during the lockdown, one of the things he realised is that he just loves being at home. He wants to be with his family, with his friends. He loves his own house. He's bought a new house and very proud of it. Wanted to be there. He does not want to be moved by the company. So I was coaching him through that decision as to whether to stay with the company if they persist in moving him, or whether to look for a new role. And that was a very interesting one for me to work with. So it's carried on online. The group sessions are harder to do online. It is harder to manage a large group of people. But again, we've had to learn to do it. We've had to use Skype and Zoom and all of these platforms. And in fact, I was training a group of 5 or 6 people this morning online, and it worked really well. It worked every bit as well as it would have been had we been there in the room together. But I presume I've only really come to realise that over the last few months, that you can adapt, and we've all had to adapt and pivot and make the best of it. So I'm really working hard on getting the business to continue, my coaching and training business to continue online, and to make it as energetic and as inspiring for the client or clients as it would have been had we been in that room. And that maybe was a struggle at the start, but I think I'm really getting used to it. And I find it's all about putting a lot of energy into it and keeping that energy level up, regardless of whether you're not in the form or it's raining outside or you've been stuck inside the house for the last week and you haven't really had that lovely interaction we all came to get used to in the office. But this is the new way of working, and it seems that COVID is here for longer than we imagined. So we just have to adapt, and we have to make the best of it, and we have to keep our businesses going and keep the best foot forward.
Can you talk us through some of the benefits of having a business coach? But again, I understand that there are no required qualifications for a person to become a business coach. There could be some people out there who call themselves business coaches who might know very little about what they're talking about. What kind of advice can you give on how to figure out experts who can actually help people to achieve breakthrough results for their business?
I think if you remember yourself, we all had a friend or a family member or an older grandmother or aunt who was always a good person to go and talk to when you had a problem, and you sounded out things with them and you felt you got a good steer. So, look, there's a lot of people who are informal business mentors or coaches, and they do it that way. They do it in a sort of a very natural way because they're good listeners and they're people you like to work with. And I think really in a sense of choosing a coach, that's what it's about, whether it's a business coach or an executive coach or a life coach. Pick somebody you get on with, who you feel aligned with, who's on the same page as you, who you feel you would like to spend some time with over the next few weeks or months or however long you're going to give to this coaching. In my own case, I'm a registered senior practitioner with the European Mentoring and Coaching Council, bit of a mouthful. And it was a long haul to get that qualification. I had to submit an awful lot of evidence that I'd worked with people at a very senior level over many years. And there are other recognised bodies as well that people are registered with. Personally, I believe anybody who sets themselves up as a coach probably does have a qualification, or at least has a very long and experienced body of work that stands to them and who you can very easily check out. If you want to work with somebody, we can check things out so easily online nowadays. And I would recommend you just check somebody out and make sure they're a fit for you.
Okay. So does professional business coaches work in only one industry, for example, like the one that they are specialized in? Or can they work in other fields as well?
Technically speaking, a coach should be able to work in any area whatsoever, because a coach is not advising and is not sharing expertise. A coach is enabling the individual to find their own answers, their own solutions to their own issues and their own problems. So if that's the case, yes, you should be able to work in any field, even if you don't have experience in it. But in reality, I think when people choose a coach, I think they choose to work with somebody who has some kind of similar background to them, or at least has some understanding of where they're going. So if you're a mid-career executive and you're trying to climb that ladder and get on the executive board in the organization, or, you know, move up rapidly, you're going to choose somebody who has done the same. You're not going to choose to work with a very young person who's never held an executive role, because they probably won't know what that world is like. Equally, if you're looking for a coach or a mentor in a business and you're in a particular area and you want to do a particular thing with your business, as in scale it or grow it or get finance for it, you're going to look for somebody as a mentor or a coach who did exactly that in his or her own past, who grew companies, who developed them, who scaled them. So I think naturally there's a bit of self-selection about choosing a coach. I think you naturally choose somebody who has something you're looking for. And that might be a background and experience and knowledge and understanding of a particular sector. But technically, as I've said, yep, a coach should be able to work anywhere and with any problem.
So with your vast experience, Ola, can you tell us what type of business have you coached yourself?
I've coached every manner of business. I've coached very small startups, individuals growing from one retail outlet wanting to grow to 5 or 6, right up to big businesses with multi-million pound turnovers, who have staffs of 100, 200, 300, who are trying to do very different things with those businesses, whether it could be scaling or growing or merging or something like that. And then I've worked with individuals at all levels. I've worked with very, very senior politicians, coaching them on dealing with the stresses and strains of living in a political life, which is very public and very stressful. And people at very senior level in organizations who have, gone for that CEO role or gone for the very top role. So I've worked right across the board, people in not-for-profits, people in the military, people in... It's very interesting. People come to you for a whole load of different reasons. Because my background is communications training, and, an awful lot of what I do is teaching people how to communicate better. And I've always believed that communications is at the heart of good leadership, and my book, Perform as a Leader, was all about that, how communicating is the core of it all. So a lot of the people who would approach me, it's because they're trying to develop a particular communication skill, because they too see communication as the way to take it forward. So I've worked with people who feel, for example, they don't have the right executive presence for that role that they know is going to come up in the business in a year's time. So I had one client who came to me a year before he knew this particular role was coming up. And he said, I have to develop executive presence and visibility and all of that in the next year, so that when the role is advertised, I'll get it. And we worked really, really hard on him speaking more within the business, conducting town halls, coaching his staff, conducting negotiations, stepping up to the mark, volunteering to do all kinds of additional chairing of meetings that he would have been additional to his role, but would have given him extra visibility. And sure enough, when the role was advertised a year down the line, he got it. And he really put it down to that work he had done the year beforehand, step by step, putting that right visibility in place in order that he would then get that role. And he did. So that was a real success.
What kind of future do you predict for businesses, both big and small?
I think the only thing certain now is that everything is uncertain. Isn't that the cruel reality of where we are at the moment? We're all making this up as we go along. I don't think there's a business in the country that has not been impacted by COVID to a greater or lesser extent. I think we've all been lost in admiration at the businesses that have pivoted very quickly and turned around and created the products that we're all using now, like the masks and the gloves and the dividers and the screens and things we never would have thought about a few months back. And there are businesses that are really doing well on those fronts. As I said earlier, we've all turned around to using things online and doing a lot of our meetings and in my case, my coaching, my training, doing it online. We've had to learn new ways of going. I don't have any magic wand. I don't know where this is going. We keep talking about when we get back to normal, and you're wondering, because it seems to be getting pushed further and further out. This is the new normal and we've got to get on with it. So look, all we can do is stay as positive as we can, keep the show on the road, keep trying to negotiate or keep trying to engage with our clients and getting them to do more work. And I think very much from my perspective, in terms of training and coaching, I really want to see businesses supporting their staffs in a really strong way, because working at home is wearing thin now. It was a novelty at first. I think people are getting quite stressed by it. They need a lot of support. I think people are finding it difficult to be remote from the offices, difficult to juggle kids and the dogs and everybody walking in the middle of your important meeting. All of that has been difficult for us, and I think I would like to see businesses really supporting their staffs more with various ways of encouraging them to come online and do more of this kind of thing in order to keep us all going. That's all we can do, really.
Thank you, Ola. Thank you very much. At this point, I'm just going to ask you, what kind of advice can you give to business people, and in particular to people who are in the coaching business, and also some people that are starting new businesses? What kind of advice would you give to those kind of people?
For anybody currently working in business coaching, look, it's been a very interesting time. It's been challenging, but there's been a lot of supports out there. I mean, Enterprise Ireland or the local enterprise offices offered vouchers to businesses to actually go and get coaching and support if they needed it, and that was going to be paid for by the local enterprise office. So that must have benefited existing coaches. For anybody new setting up, I'd say it'll be tough. It'll be a struggle. I've seen many coaches in the last few months, very proudly hold up their certificate or hold up their accreditation when they've got it and post on LinkedIn or post wherever that they've just been qualified. And you're so happy that there's a new entrant into the profession. I think there's room for everybody there, but clearly it is a difficult time. But you have to look at the positive of that. You have to say, where I used to sort of tear around the countryside and tear around the city, meeting all my clients, coaching, or they would come to me in my offices. In actual fact, moving online may be the best thing that's ever happened coaching, in the sense that it will be easier to see people, or to see 3 or 4 people in a row in a day you've laid aside for coaching, because you'll actually be doing it online. So this could be very positive. And I said at the start of this interview that one of my most recent successes, a lady who got a very big job in HR, and I'm very, very happy for her. I've never met her. I met her completely online and did all of the work online, and it worked extremely well. And in fact, it was very funny. She has small children and she was working at home. She used to jump into her car, and my coaching sessions were me in my office and her outside in her front drive in her car, and it worked very, very well, and she got the role. So look, it could end up being a very good time for coaches. So the best of luck to anybody who is recently qualified, and as I said, welcome to the profession. There's room for us all.
I think you are such a wonderful person, Ola, and I thank you so much for accepting to be on my show. I wish you all the best and do have a good day. So, viewers, this has brought us to the end of this show today. I hope that you enjoyed it and you have learned a few things from my guests today. I am looking forward to be with you once again next week with a new guest. Until then, I wish you the best and do have a good day.